Well, guys, I wanted to make another video, and I really want to. I kind of been stuck a little bit in the pattern, just doing videos about stock. But yet, when I created the channel, I really always wanted to talk about all things money. And you know, the great debate is: are we in a recession? Are we going in a recession? I've seen people post stuff on Facebook. We're going to be in a recession in March. Honestly, I think we're in a recession now. And when you Google recession, a recession is a business cycle contraction. When there is a general decline in economic activity, recessions generally occur when there's a widespread drop in spending. And if you watched my video yesterday, well, of course there's going to be a widespread drop in spending because people don't have the money that they used to have. It's costing more to heat the house. It's costing more to run the electric. It's costing more to get to work, and it's costing more to feed your family. And businesses, I'll tell you, it used to be that large businesses had an advantage over small businesses, but even at the size that they are still impacted by right now. I mean, labor inflation is hurting them, so they're paying more to run their business for electric. They're paying more to deliver things. So, and they can't raise prices quick enough to the point because people not necessarily can afford it. So, in my opinion, we don't have to wait for the government to tell us 6 months from now that we are in a recession, because the Fed is doing everything in their possible to put us in a recession and hurt us. And with that being said, that's why I would be very careful in what you're. And a lot of people aren't going to have money to invest and to spend. You know, part of what I used to be in the restaurant business and stuff, and part of what I do for a living is I'm a reseller. So I buy and sell things, and new and used and pre-owned and all that. And I stopped at the Salvation Army today. I stopped there and I said to him, "How's business?" And he said, "Oh, today's a little slow, but overall." The manager that works there feels like they're still doing okay, because what's happening is people are not, they don't have the money to spend, let's say, full retail at the stores, but they are still spending at Salvation Army. And then I wonder, and I don't know this, I don't know how many people are. There's a lot of people that buy and flip things and look for deals, especially in this economy. I think there's a lot of gig businesses, a lot of people doing the Uber Eats, the Instacarts, the Lyft and stuff like that, trying to make extra money to soften the blow of what's going on. And we have a big mess, and it's going to really take. And our government, I truly believe, is behind, because they're driving up interest rates. And we came off a pandemic from 2 years ago, basically, and boy, I wish I knew a lot more about money then. But you sometimes learn about things as they are in the past. And because I financially didn't benefit in a way from the government through the pandemic, because I wasn't one of those people that was able to sit home and get their regular unemployment plus the extra $600. And that caused a lot of issues. I was busier in my reselling business, honestly, because some people just didn't want to leave the house, and I was out getting things for them and getting paid to do that. Now, the mistake I made is I made a little bit of extra money that year, or the business did, and I had a little bit of cash flow. And what did I do? I turned around and put it in the stock market, betting stocks were going to go down because the economy wasn't good. And instead, they got hyped up and things got ran up, and it became a gambling casino because people couldn't go to the casino, and Robinhood was out, Webull was out, so all those things, and you had people sitting at home trying to find ways to even use the money that they had, the extra money coming had, and some people put themselves in a worse position. So there was a lot of money floating around in the trillions. And now you have such a you have people that now that, the economy is too good because now more people are supposed to be going back to work. To get people coming back to work, these employers are faced with higher labor cost, and it's a big mess, and I've done a video about this before. But in my opinion, we are already in a recession. Am I a licensed broker? Am I a licensed economist? Did I go? No, just regular guy that we're being hit too. Higher oil, higher food, higher. There is no extra money to really. It's going to be a long winter, and I see the market. The market has been going down, but now the last month it's been going up, and I worry that you see some of the big stocks. Your Amazon is down, your Facebook is down. A lot of stocks are down 50%, even though the market looks like it's only down. And let me pull that up. And guys, I do appreciate listening to me and watching and babble on about money and stuff like that. And I know sometimes when the market's bad, a lot of people just want to ignore things. I get it. And see what the Dow is. If we can pull up on CNBC. Let me downsize me a little bit here. We don't need me quite as big. Year to date, the Dow. But I mean, look, here we were down to 20. We're up like 4,000 points in October. Year to date, it's only down 9%. And it's crazy. And many stocks, don't be fooled by what the Dow is doing. People that truly understand stocks and trade and stuff like that are being, even I have sons that are into 401ks, and their accounts are off roughly about 15%. Here's the NASDAQ, it's down 30%. This is the futures, what it looked like for tomorrow when I'm taping this. S&P is down. Yeah, the S&P is down 18%. Actually, the S&P I think is a better index to look at than the Dow, because S&P is 500 companies where the Dow is only 30. So I would just I wouldn't dump any money in. And a lot of people that are probably watching this don't have. You don't got millionaires and billionaires watching me. They have their own advisors and stuff like that, and they could hedge things and take advantage of opportunities that exist. As far as buying puts and short selling and doing a lot of things, and to make money. Excuse me. I'll talk about the person who is what I call the working poor. They're hurting. They're hurting right now, and man, I just hope a lot of this stuff ain't done for political purposes, to see us, and then what, they're going to start lowering interest rates in 2024 so that, a certain party can get in and stuff like that. I hate, and, a lot of people can't afford, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. I've always heard the story. How many people could come up with $1,000 to pay their bills, a lot, or an emergency part of, and that has to do with even a lot of people in themselves not planning for the future. And I think with the downturns like this, the problem is with downturns like this, you don't even get the opportunity to secure yourself in a better position when things get better, because you just don't have the money. So people kind of bury themselves in credit card debt. They get behind, and you get a year or two of stuff like this happening, and it really can screw up people's credit for the long term. And some people will never get out of that hole or that cycle, and that's why I sort of make these videos to talk about it. I don't get paid. I don't have enough subscribers to do it, but man, you learn things. Even myself, and got to build a safety net, and not enough people are doing that, and we are definitely in. And again, I'm going to say it again. Or I ain't gonna wait. We are definitely in a recession. Business it's costing more to run businesses. Profits are going to be down, and 2 quarters in a row, and that basically qualifies as a recession. So we know, if you're following the market, and you know that businesses, if it's costing the average family $500 to $800 more just to get by and live, where is the, and I wonder, and I was thinking about this the other day. I walked into Target, And yeah, I'm not reading from a script or not. A lot of people don't realize, when you watch CNBC or Fox, they're reading off a teleprompter. They might get their notes together and somebody puts it in a teleprompter and what they're going to talk about. And, they're the professionals and stuff like that. And they'll repeat that stuff several times a day because somebody might watch at 10, somebody might watch at 2. So it's easy. For me, I'm just doing it off the cuff. And maybe that don't make me professional and stuff, but I'm trying to really give you a true picture. But I walked into Target the other day. There was about 20 people in line. And a couple things happened that day and I thought about this employee problem, and I was like, wow, like what's going on here? They were in the self-checkout and there was other people. And I noticed Starbucks had their chairs up in that Target. And so I walk in the back and I'm looking for a cell phone holder. And there's a lady back there selling a cell phone to an older couple. And I said, yeah, I saw the line. And they got talking about help and people. And she says, it's ridiculous. They don't pay nothing. And, they're paying like $15 an hour. And the subject of minimum wage. And you know how many people don't know what minimum wage is? Minimum wage is $7.25 an hour federally. Now, who the heck works for $7.25? That used to be a good starting wage at like McDonald's for for the teenagers to start. You get there, you train and stuff. I mean, minimum wage should be more than honestly $7.25. Probably right now it should be a minimum of $10.50. But the girl was going on and how could people live for $15 an hour? I don't blame them for not coming in. Target's not doing things right. They'll bring people in 4 hours. So I didn't want to debate the lady. Because I know myself, back when I was a teenager, I worked for $3.35. A lot of that has to do with priorities and what and she says, with inflation and everything. And I worry that mindset that people think that every time somebody wants to, let's say somebody says, hey, I want to be able to spend this amount doing a vacation, buying cigarettes, I want to spend $300 a month gambling. And the business should have to pay for it. It used to be that you'd set a budget and, hey, well, we can't go and do that because this is what it cost, and you made it work. Now, I know there's a big housing problem in this country. Housing is way too expensive. I mean, you got a lot of people, the working poor, that have to basically work 3 weeks to pay for rent, and that's mind blowing to me. That it's that hurts people too, and that's where people get themselves in problems. But I don't think $15. I think $15 an hour is honestly. Is a pretty fair wage. Now, if you're working there 30 years, depending upon what your responsibility is doing and stuff like that. But, $15. I mean, I remember back in the day, and I'm not that old. Going back in the day to drive forklift, you got $9 or $10 an hour. This has all come about just in the last 2 or 3 years. And this is a big problem for businesses. This is that's going to hurt the bottom line. It's going to change a lot of things. This is why, when people don't show up, and since I become the employee, I got to ring myself up, and you're seeing it in Target, you're seeing it in Walmart. Places don't have to, they know customers are going to come in and want their goods, and they're going to have to ring stuff up. But keep in mind, on a register, you don't have to pay FICA. You don't have to pay workman's comp. You don't have to pay unemployment. Now, what will happen is, they'll pay $15 an hour or $18 an hour for some of those other employees, the stock shelves and stuff like that. But I don't know, when does it come a point where, is 25 enough? But then if prices go up on stuff more, the more wages go up, to a point that basically prices, the more stuff is going to go up. So you're not even gaining. So even now with some of those employees making $15 an hour, and I think maybe that's why some of them are sort of don't get what's going on. They're miserable and stuff, and they're not happy with the $15 an hour. Why? Because it's costing more for gas, it's costing more for food, it's costing more for electric, it's costing and that's why. So that $15 an hour 2 years ago would have been like, hey, if your bills are $10,000 a year cheaper, would have been great. So I don't want to debate because you sometimes get into a discussion and people then, they get mad and stuff like that. But yeah, I love to talk. I would love to go into college and kind of debate and talk to kids in college and obviously $15 an hour living in San Francisco versus in a country, it's different state to state. So I get that. People may want to say in the comments below that, hey, Pat, you don't get it. It's cost $2,000 rent in California. I do get it. I'm saying overall, those unique circumstances, I do get it. And then, people have to understand what maybe cost me $5 for a Big Mac here is going to cost you $8 in San Francisco. So I do get it. So I paid for my items back there. And I said, hey, can I pay for here? And she's like, sure. And she was walking off, and, that was it. And I heard her complaining about something to another, so people were, like, even miserable at their jobs. And so I go out, and I saw that there was no more people in line, but there was only, like, 2 registers open out of probably 20. And I said I was looking for something light to eat. Maybe I was going to get a small sandwich at Starbucks, and I don't really like their coffee. And they had 2 employees there. And this was on a Friday, and the chairs were up, and it was all dark. So I walked over the side. I said, "Are you guys closed, or what's because they're over there?" I'm like, she goes, "Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't open today." And I didn't want to ask questions. In my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh, somebody must have called off, or they don't want to stay." And you got 2 employees. And I'm like, wow, these companies are in trouble because even a lot of the employees have the companies buy the what. And it used to, I remember when I was younger and I worked in a pizzeria, somebody called off. Yeah, did we like it? No, but we made it work because we wanted our paychecks. We wanted to, we want to see the company succeed. So, there's a big problem, and it's not going to be fixed in a month. And that's what I worry about even investing into, there's a certain population that wants that $15, $20 an hour, and they don't care nothing about saving for the future. They don't care nothing about the 401k at work. They honestly feel like the government will take care of them, and they want the money now, and who cares about that stuff? And that's a problem. When I pulled up here, we're going to say the recession, the effects of a recession and decline in sales, and the average length of a recession is 10 months. This one could be longer. What's going to change if we're not willing to? How do we lower the price of oil? We're depleting reserves. I hear diesel is way down, and we just don't have the proper policies in place to. By raising interest rates, they're killing the housing market and those things. And here we are, I'm talking about we have a housing problem, and yet we're just doing a lot of things that are not good overall for the economy. And I'm sure, an economist will get on, oh, Pat, we're doing this reason for that reason. But people are hurting. So I do appreciate you guys listening to me rant and kind of talk about it a little bit. I welcome any comments in the chat. And I would be, if you're investing money, be very careful. Don't dump a whole lot in. The only reason I'm telling my sons to still dollar cost average is because of the tax the setup basically that the employer will match, and the tax incentive to do it. If you're putting in $200 a month and the company matches $200, you're getting 100% return. So even if the market does go down a certain percentage, you're still going to do all right, and then you're getting the tax write-off. If you don't do it, then you're basically leaving money on the table, and you don't necessarily always have to also put it in the riskiest stocks. You could basically earmark it that it's going more towards low yield treasuries and things like that, so that you're not getting that stock shock. And I want to believe that over the next couple of years, things will be better. But man, a lot of people don't have time to wait the next couple of years. So anybody who's watching this again, learn from this. I'm definitely learning, and I think all of us we need to start building a. Problem is, even if you build a safety, and that's what, these thoughts go through my mind. It used to be, I remember they say, have a 6-month emergency fund. You know, I remember years ago listening to Susie Orman have a 9-month emergency fund. And with the price, that inflation that is really happened in the last year, year and a half, those emergency funds are being wiped out. Then what? And there's not enough help for some people, especially the working poor, to make up that gap. You know, let's face it. You know, if your bills are up $9,000 or $10,000 a year, and you got a $4,000, you're behind the 8 ball. You know, you're having to tap into savings or cut things and or take on more debt, honestly, and that's not good too. That becomes its own problem. So, all right, guys, I do appreciate. I don't want to. Talk about money for hours, but I do appreciate you guys watching and listening. If you guys give me thumbs up and comment, and I'm not getting paid to do this. I like to one day. It takes subscribers. If you subscribe, it doesn't cost you nothing, and it takes people to watch and get views and stuff like that. So, thanks again, and we'll talk again.